when I found you. I saw raw, untamed power.
What?
Raw, untamed power.
What? Raw, untamed power? Oh man, we need to have a closer look at this one. Yeah, hi, I'm Gibson Shamar, and this week we'll talk about how Kylo Ren could have been handled in The Force Awakens. It's just a fun little thought piece I had when I was checking out some Star Wars content online, and I thought it would be a nice video to make. That and my schedule is a bit chaotic right now, so I can only do short videos. That's lucky for you too, guys, because you won't have to sit through half an hour of me explaining something in sometimes unnecessary detail. If you've been through this channel, you'll have noticed that I love Star Wars a lot, and sometimes I make a lot of reference to it in videos that have nothing to do with it. Being that case, like many other people on the internet, I have a few takes on how things could have been handled in the movies regarding some characters and character arcs and all that. In the sequel trilogy, that's mainly with Rey and Kylo Ren. The only beef I had with Finn's character journey was what they did in this movie. Otherwise, I liked the whole thing about him discovering the true nature of war beyond the battlefield in The Last Jedi. I like that the original plan by Colin Trevorrow was to have him start a stormtrooper rebellion with the lessons he learned from The Last Jedi and his adventures with the Resistance. Unfortunately, I have to invent a mission that travels through multiverse, so I can find a version of Earth where we get to see Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9. I read the leaked script. It was amazing. Anyway, back to the point. People like to blame The Last Jedi for the downfall of the sequel trilogy, but the truth is The Force Awakens started that. One of the things was Kylo Ren and how his whole journey went. He starts off really cool, stopping a projectile midair, or is it a laser bolt? I don't know. But he stopped it in midair, which is something we never see any Force user do on screen. We then see him have temper tantrums throughout the movie, and we also learn that he and a handful of Luke's students destroyed the Jedi Temple and the Jedi Order. Eventually, we see his face, and he turns out to be a very meek and insecure guy under that mask. After he kills Han, he gets shot and fights off Finn, defeats him, then gets whooped and completely dominated by Rey once she decides to actually try to fight back. I hated that fight so much. He's only spared from death because the ground split apart between him and Rey, who, by the way, was wielding a lightsaber in battle for the first time in her life when she completely dominated him once she decided to actually try to fight back.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
I can't believe I paid good money to watch that in cinemas. Well, here's the thing about it. I don't think anyone liked that. Anyone who didn't hate it simply defends it without having a particularly positive outlook on it. I mean, how could they? This is the guy who was said to have destroyed the Jedi Order by going in and killing everyone. Are we supposed to believe that none of the Jedi he killed in his rampage put up a decent fight against him? You say that he was injured when he fought Rey, which is why she beat him. Okay, but didn't he just get done beating Finn? How come his injury wasn't a factor there? See how that starts to collapse on itself? Yeah. Well, okay. I want to work on the character within the confines of what the movie established about him and what the sequels say about him. In The Last Jedi, Rey insists that Luke trains her because apparently Kylo is getting stronger every day. I don't know why that's a problem since she defeated him, but whatever. Everyone treats him like he's some sort of godly threat and everything. Why don't we actually find a way of seeing it on screen? Here's what I'm thinking. How about we actually showcase why the character's so feared by showing him overcoming our heroes on screen? Yeah. You see, we couldn't see Darth Vader fully powered because he was a walking corpse and apparently in a suit that limits him from reaching his full potential. His injuries on Mustafar were severe enough to weaken him, and the suit weakened him even further. So now we have his grandson, who has a ton of power in him too, that mighty Skywalker power. And he's not injured. He's healthy and has all his body parts. Why not showcase the true potential of a Skywalker through him? Wouldn't that have been the better path to walk with the character? My bone of contention, I learned that phrase from a friend of mine in university, comes from the way the final fight in The Force Awakens was handled. I think that having him be utterly defeated and completely dominated once Rey decided to actually try to fight back was a bad creative decision. They even played the scene off like she's remembering something we saw her learn, like when Luke fired the proton torpedo into the Death Star's exhaust port using the lesson he learned from Obi-Wan on their way to Alderaan. Yeah, I had to mention that because folks out there think that it's comparable even though Luke spent the entire Battle of Yavin being rescued by every pilot as they died around him, and he was just trying to figure out what was even going on. So, what I would have done with the fight on Starkiller Base. Here it is. Have him defeat Finn the same way he did in the actual movie. Have him start off against Rey the same way. She pulls the lightsaber when he was trying to pull it. He then goes towards her like, "Give me that lightsaber now." And she prepares to fight him. The wind around them blows in an unnatural way and starts crying. They start fighting and she's overwhelmed by him trying to defend herself, and he just keeps getting more and more aggressive. The injury affects him and he knocks her aside in order to have a few seconds to recover from the injury, and she keeps coming back to him and he continues to attack and dominate. The forest is falling apart because he's drawing so much dark side energy to fuel his attacks that it's manifesting physically. There's real weight behind each lightsaber strike, and she's getting more and more worried and defends herself desperately. He at some point manages to knock the lightsaber out of her hand and she pulls it back instinctively, and he just gets more annoyed. At some point, he has her pinned down and is knocking against her lightsaber with so much force energy bound to his lightsaber that it's destroying the ground beneath her and the trees around them. Eventually, she's knocked out and he's ready to get the lightsaber from her. We then see the Millennium Falcon show up and shoots at him, and he blocks the blast using his lightsaber and the Force. He pulls the Falcon down using the Force, but Chewie manages to maneuver it to escape him. He sets the Falcon up to float above ground and fires his crossbow at Kylo once more, and it hits him, staggering him. Chewie then gets to Rey and Finn and takes them to the Falcon as the ground splits between him and Kylo. Kylo uses the Force Repulse move and it just levels the forest, and Chewie barely manages to escape. The Falcon is extensively damaged, but Chewie manages to escape. Kylo then uses his telekinesis to close the wounds he suffered. He doesn't heal the wounds, he just forces them shut so that they don't bleed out anymore. The audience will be shocked at the monstrosity they're seeing on screen. They'll be surprised at how much of a beast this person is. They'll see what a Skywalker is truly capable of. They'll see just why the galaxy is holding its breath waiting for Luke. The galaxy knows that Kylo Ren is no joke when it comes to power, and the only one who stands a chance is someone who can match him. And the best bet is Luke. But we, the audience, see that Rey has potential because despite being defeated by him, she held her own for a bit and she managed to survive. That way, when we see Rey being fearful of Kylo's growing power in The Last Jedi, the audience actually feels it too. We should also keep the scene where Snoke is disappointed in Kylo's failure against Rey. He's all like, "He failed. He's not as strong as I thought. I must complete his training." And you, the audience, would be like, "Dude, this guy leveled a forest. What do you mean complete his training? There's more?" You get Rey struggle to train, you see the galaxy's fear being justified, you see the payoff to a guy who's shown to be extremely emotional and volatile. He just snaps and destroys everything around him simply because he's in a bad mood. Sorry about Rey being beaten, Force Awakens fans, but a hero's triumph in the end is only great if you see them struggle against a villain, and the best illustration of struggle is to see them actually lose against the villain in a climactic duel. We'd have a far greater time watching The Last Jedi if we developed things like that. Episode 9 would have also been a better movie if they had done something like this with Kylo. What we were missing was footage of him actually being a menace. But then, that's probably what they wanted, right? Apparently, he was supposed to be emotionally unstable and too powerful for his own good to the point where he's owned by everyone, both literally and figuratively. Perhaps it was all part of the grand design. Or maybe the point was to have him be owned by Palpatines. You know, Rey beat him repeatedly, and then Palpatine became his master and also beat him. The mighty Skywalker is just nothing compared to the Palpatine family. It's like poetry, it rhymes. So, let us know what you think about how he would have handled Kylo in The Force Awakens. Do you think that this would have worked better? Does it fit with the narrative that the characters have concerning him? Let us know in the comments. Also, please check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our blog. You'll see some pretty cool stuff there. Oh, and explore our channel right here. We also have nice stuff here. Have a good day.